Previously on Rain Man. Queen Elizabeth II tweets for the first time. The monarch, I did get a little giddy when I read this. I can talk to her. I'm like, oh, social media. I'm so tech-savvy.
There we go. Right, because I'm sure she's the one that's tweeting.
Don't ruin it for me.
I mean, come on, dude. Britney Spears doesn't write her own fucking tweets. You think the Queen does? No, he sent her a link to his fan fiction. That's what he did.
So stupid. Queen Elizabeth II briefly joined social media world. Briefly. Would she already quit? Saying, oh, I'm being attacked by trolls, I am.
What? Dude, I love the next thing was like, well, she was at the museum. They knew where she was because the British monarch took off her glove in order to send the tweet. Super important. In front of an audience of approximately 600 guests. The Buckingham Palace account then published a photo of the monarch hitting a button on an iPad.
Oh, that's me. I'm using the iPad. I'm so fucking tech savvy. God damn it. Look at me use this iPad.
Now, granted, well, one astute Twitter user pointed out that the tweet was published as sent, quote unquote, via Twitter for iPhone, not from iPad.
Oh, so it might have been fake.
Might have been.
Oh, I think someone needs to put a bullet in his head trying to expose my social media conspiracy lies.
Now, a palace.
Maybe I should hire some paparazzi to chase after that.
Oh my God!
So you can, so your brains, so the blood in the brains can be all over the fucking freeway like my Diana, dirty Diana. The Rain Man Show contains adult language and discussions. If you're easily offended, do not continue to listen.
From the Cave of Wonders and recorded live in the presence of gods, where heroes are forged and the weak perish. We welcome you to the Rain Man Show.
What's your name?
Rain Man. Rain Man. Rain Man. Rain Man.
Fuck you! That's my name.
Rain Man.
Set up, double-crossed, and left for dead.
Fuck me? No. Fuck you.
Rain Man.
Framed for murder, now he prowls the Badlands, an outlaw hunting outlaws, a bounty hunter, a renegade.
When the few who remain, battle to the last. No one has ever known the game of freedom.
Oh yeah! You wanna find it? Come on, yeah! I'm on a plane with cocaine, and yes, I'm on it. Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Rain Man Show. Rain Man Digital and RainManWasHere.com is where you can find all of our broadcasts, past, present, future, and beyond. Rain Man Digital. Yeah. Tony. Dude, I will never, ever move to Los Angeles. I don't care.
I was going to ask you, how did your little trip to Cali go?
It doesn't matter what time of day. There's traffic. And not just traffic. There's traffic.
There's
Move it, asshole! What the fuck are you doing? He's just changing his tire!
And nobody knows how to drive, man. Like, the good thing is they all speed. But if there's one person that decides to push on the brake, fuck it. The entire freeway shuts down.
The slightest delay on any sort of highway in LA means absolute gridlock for the entire system.
Yeah, and if you hope to get anywhere on time,
You got to leave like 2 hours early.
Yeah, even if it only takes 30 minutes, and usually it only takes 30 minutes, right? Even if you know that, day in, day out, 30 minutes, it doesn't matter because you never know when traffic's going to fuck you. So you have to leave an hour to 2 hours ahead of time. Otherwise, you're just going to look like a
fucking idiot.
Yeah, like a jackass showing up late to important meetings.
There really is no such thing as rush hour there. It's sort of like rush hour all the time.
Well, what's funny is that's going to be the stage for Rush Hour 4. It's just going to be Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker in a car for 2 hours.
So stupid.
No, I was actually there the weekend before for BlizzCon. And when we were coming back, they changed how the toll roads work.
Yeah, it's stupid.
They don't. So there's no. There's nothing for you to go through, but you're on the road, and somehow they know that you've been on that road. And if you don't pay within 3 days online,
yeah, they charge you.
or through a handy dandy app, because everybody has a smartphone now, you get fined.
Well, they have it's like Disneyland though. Like the freeway is like Disneyland. They have a fast pass lane where you could pay more money as well. You can actually pay on certain freeways. If you choose to pay more money, you can get into the separate lane and speed past everybody.
Yeah, well,
and I'm like, what is this? A fucking Disneyland amusement ride?
Well, it's stupid because
hey, everybody, get your fast pass tickets, and you could speed.
We drove through, and like there was the regular toll road. And then there was the express lane, which you still drove through a booth, but it scanned something that's on your car or something.
Technically, if you wanted to, because that happened to me, and I didn't pay attention, and I got a bunch of fines, and all I did was call the city of Los Angeles, because the whole purpose of toll roads is basically to make sure if you're going to work in another city, that city you're leaving is benefiting off you and basically aiding the economy of another town. So all you got to do, I called them up and said, listen, I'm from Arizona. Here's my driver's license. I was driving to another place, had nothing to do with work. I'm not paying this. You know what they said? Okay.
Yeah.
So don't pay it. If you're from out of state, do not fucking pay those fees because it's just a way to fuck the tourists. And it's only for people who live within the cities that are working, that are basically carpooling to other areas.
Well, what's shitty is that that when we weren't going to get on there if we knew that it was going to be a toll road, but we were driving home, and then all of a sudden we're like, holy shit, we're on a fucking toll road? Like, we're like, all right, do you have change? I don't have change. Do you have $1? I don't know. Do they take dollars? And then we didn't see a booth, and we're like, all right, so are we okay? Like, are we fucked? Like, what are we doing?
And toll roads just seem so archaic, too. Like, I picture, I always expect something epic to happen on a toll road. Like,
I just always expect
a battle of minions attacking you, something.
I just always think
of a troll looking to collect gold from you.
Right. Or Prince John trying to extort the people of Sherwood Forest. That's what always comes to my mind every time I hear the word toll road, because it's kind of foreign to us in Arizona because we don't have them.
No, troll road.
So I came back from the Supernatural convention in Burbank, first Supernatural specific convention we've ever done. Huge success. It's funny because I've done a lot of them, and I've had people kind of clamor, I guess, because of my films, being in film festivals. Thomas and Ryan are straight off the boat, like fresh podunk. I'm here. Oh wow, I'm famous, mama. Like, they walked in and there's people asking for their autograph, knowing where they're from, and they're like, Ryan and Thomas turned bright red. They had no idea. I'm like, they look at me like, dude, they want us to sign autographs. I'm like, then sign a fucking autograph, dude. Wow. I'm like, and Ryan's
really?
And then Ryan's giddy. He has a big old smile on his face. I can't believe I'm signing autographs. I'm like,
really? Are you serious? He didn't.
Wait, this is the guy that dresses up as Bane all the time and poses for those fucking pictures. He can't.
When he's out of costume, he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, but it made me feel good that they were really excited about doing this show, and they were like, wow, people know who we are. I'm like, dude, it's Supernatural. We're the only guys that do a radio show basically that's any good within the Supernatural fandom. I mean, get used to it, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be arrogant here. I was very happy and very grateful for the amount of attention that we got.
That's good.
I mean, it's so much fun.
You guys must have been really busy at the con then.
We were. It's not nonstop. It's different than other cons. You know how when you go to a convention or a con, it's just busy nonstop. People are coming and going. This is different because it's more of an outside vendor's room, and then inside there's where all the panels are at. So basically it's busy until there's panels. So it's busy from 9 to 11. Then it's dead from like 11:30 to like 3 because there's nothing but panels. Then they take a break. It's filled up again. So it's like kind of like set times where it's really busy and you get a lot of people coming up to the table and wondering where it's at. One lady, it's the only time I got rude with anybody under my breath. But yeah, I didn't do it to her face. But she's all like, "Wow, does somebody actually listen to these shows?" And I'm like, "No, nobody listens. Just spent several $1,000s to get here, and nobody listens." And I got like Thomas Thomas reminds me of you, Tony, and David when you guys used to when I got angry.
Oh yeah,
you guys used to be like this, like General Grievous in the background, happy as shit when I would blow up and get angry.
Yeah,
Thomas sees my face. He's all like, just shakes his head. He's all, don't do. He's all, do. But he has this grin of satisfaction that I'm getting upset. And I just said, she says, well, because I went to these Star Trek conventions too, and people have shows. And I'm like, does anybody really listen to these things? I mean, where do you listen to them? I'm like, well, ma'am, there's a thing called the internet, and where it's actually a lot bigger than the dial that you tune in every morning when you get in your car and you take your old ass down to the grocery store.
That little transistor radio, you're not going to be able to listen to our shows.
Yeah, because terrestrial radio is very locale specific, meaning only one, maybe a handful of a demographic can listen to your favorite, yuck in the morning guy. Whereas us, we are not specific to any locale. We are broadcasting across the fucking world. So you answer the question, ma'am. Is there anybody that listens to us?
She probably was like going, are these guys on the same network with that Casey Kasem or Wolfman Jack?
I've had the worst.
That's why she can't find them.
I've had the worst luck with people who don't get like internet radio or podcasts. Like when I went to last year, I went to a wine country, and we're drinking wine, and one thing leads to another, and the bartender says, you look like you're well to do, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And I'm like, are you trying to hit on me here, or like, what are you trying?
You look like you're part of our community.
And she's like, you look like you're well to do. And I'm like, well, thank you. And she's like, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I run a media company. I work for myself, and we do all kinds of different things. So what does that mean? So I say, I don't want to say film stuff, because anytime you're in California, everybody's in film.
Oh yeah, that's
always
a pickup line.
So I always leave that off. I'm like, I do digital media, websites, radio. She's like, oh, radio, and she's do you?
Oh my, radio! You don't say.
Yeah,
I heard that yesterday.
Are you on KRQ?
Yeah, but she's all, oh, radio, and she did sound like the Queen. Okay, and she's all, oh, radio, and I'm like, yeah. She got really happy. Do you do stuff like Ryan Seacrest does?
Oh. Check, please.
And I said, dude, I was dumbfounded. Said nothing, and I'm like, I kind of kept silent. I didn't know what to say, because if she liked Ryan Seacrest and I bashed him, it would make me look like an asshole, and I didn't want to be. Oh yeah, we're just like him. And then she's like, "Oh, I hate that jagoff," So I just kind of kept silent. She's like, "Oh, because I love all his games, the War of the Roses," and I'm like, "What are you living in the '80s? That shit was dull in the '80s."
She's still on shortwave.
Do you guys remember that bullshit War of the Roses?
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah, where they basically, you get they call you up, you win roses, and they have the significant other listening on the other line. And they say, where would you just want roses? Yeah. Where would you like to send them to? And if they send them to like a girlfriend or somebody else rather than them, they're cheating on you.
I've heard that saying. That could get really awkward.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anyways. So, yeah. Quite an experience, Los Angeles area.
I'm curious, just really quick, how big would a convention of Supernatural be?
Honestly, I think it was about, I want to say a couple thousand people. So it's relatively small. It's not, the thing is that I've been to a lot of cons, and we got more attention at a small niche con than I've ever gotten at the Phoenix Comic Con or at Los Angeles Kamikaze. Way more, because it's niche specific. They're going there because they're into this,
and they're gonna
and that's it. So when they see that you do a Supernatural show, dude, not one person was negative. It was unbelievable, except that one lady who had just that dumb question that irked me. But for the most part, everybody.
So that lady, if you're listening now,
go fuck yourself.
That's the view of Michael Flores, not the view of the rest of us in the group. Although, then again, go fuck yourself. But it's not our view specifically. It's just
specifically if you're Amanda, go fuck yourself. Greg said.
No, god damn it! I shouldn't have said that.
Yep, too late.
All right. So later in the show, part of my deal that I made with John Jackson Miller, the Star Wars writer novelist, We will be re-airing his interview we did on the Back to Tank show. We will be airing it today as well. I'd say in about 25, maybe 30 minutes or so, you'll be hearing that interview, which Greg was actually in.
I was there.
Yeah, and it's a fun interview. Even if you're not into Star Wars, it's educational in the aspects of writing and listening to how the mind of this guy works. It was a fun and an informative interview just about how things work within movies, books, how Lucasfilm Story Group is operating now. It's pretty interesting stuff. But first, let's jump into a little bit of news here. Bill Cosby, he's the talk of the town, which he hasn't been the talk of the town in, I would say, very, very, very long time.
Hey, it's the last like all these allegations just coming out of the woodwork. It's crazy.
Isn't that usually how it works? I'm leaning towards the fact that Bill Cosby is a rapist. Okay, I'm not. The thing with Bill Cosby is that it's funny how these things always happen right when they're about to have a project come out. He was getting ready to release a Netflix special. He had a special with NBC as well.
Mm-hmm.
How come they sit on this and she's been sitting on this for 30 years, pretty much.
Yeah.
Why not expose him earlier? And I know it takes time, and I can never put myself in that position of vulnerability. But it's just odd to me. Do they have a law team that suggests they wait so you can get a bigger payday, or shut your mouth money? It's just that's the only thing that always makes me think about the legitimacy of the claim.
I heard also
is the timing. It's like the Bryan Singer incident when there was a young man that happened to wait because there was a documentary that was coming out about abuse in Hollywood, child abuse and child molestation in Hollywood that this young man was connected to. Okay, it turns out, and one of the people that was in the documentary was Bryan Singer, being mentioned specifically. And then he was waiting for that to come out, and it was all in line to come out right when X-Men, the latest X-Men movie, came out. Right. So why did you have to wait for that at that point? And then you always find out that there's always a little bit of bullshit when people wait till a big project of these persons, the accused, comes out. For example, it ended up not being true because Bryan Singer, he squashed the entire thing. The guy ended up looking like a liar because during the time that he was supposedly accused, he was in Hawaii with proven video footage, airline tickets. He was not at that party. He was actually in Hawaii getting ready to shoot the first X-Men movie.
And
I don't know.
A lot of people were crucifying Singer once these stories started coming out. Of course. And it went away just as quick.
Yeah. Can you imagine, though, Greg, if someone just accused, how do you defend yourself? When someone says, 15 years ago, Greg molested me and groped me, what do you do? It doesn't even matter if you can prove it down the road or, hey, I didn't even know this person. How do you convince public opinion?
Everybody has
fucking
to,
brutal.
Yeah, well, everybody has to. Well, now with social media and everything's out there. People take everything that's on the internet as fucking fact. I could put anything up on the internet right now, and you can make a Wikipedia page for anything, and they don't really fact check it.
No,
they just say, oh, we're gonna make sure you have you've quoted some. Your citations are correct. The places you quote are correct that use as a reference. With the whole Bryan Singer thing, and even with anybody that brings it up after an amount of time, it's one of those things where somebody had to piss them off, and they're like, well, I'm going to wait until this, and then I'm going to go after them.
Exactly.
But a lot of time, and this is not, this is not defending or anything, but in seeing the time that apparently these the rapes happened. That was back in a time when if a woman said a man raped her, everybody's like, oh, whatever, bitch is just trying to get money,
right?
So they shrug it off, so it doesn't get anywhere.
So you're saying possibly that's why she waited.
That could be it, or who knows? There is.
It could be just simply the fact that she's been struggling with it her entire life and decided this is the time that she's strong enough. Who knows? Or it could also be the fact she knew. Because when you've been raped by a person, I can't imagine that you ever forget it, and you probably follow that guy's career. I'm like, oh, fuck you. So there might have been a chance where she's all, listen, I'm not going to let this guy have some more success. I am over this shit. I've been living in secrecy for 30 plus years. He is not going to benefit anymore. He is not going to have this Netflix special because pretty much he's been dead. So maybe she, his career. So maybe she just forgot about it, forgot about him and let it go. But then she sees his, a resurgence, and she's all, go, hell no. And that could be the case, you know? So Bill Cosby was in an NPR interview shortly after the
accusations.
The accusations. What the fuck's going on with this? He was in an NPR interview. Bill Cosby declines to discuss the assault allegations. In an NPR interview with Bill Cosby that aired aired today on the weekend edition. This was on Saturday or on Monday. The comedian discusses the loan of 62 pieces of African art for an exhibition in Washington, D.C. But there's one thing this 77-year-old would not comment on. Accusations of sexual assault that have been leveled against him. Those allegations resurfaced in recent weeks. In a column published Friday, the Washington Post, Barbara Bowman, who in 1985 was a 17-year-old aspiring actress on The Cosby Show, says that comic actor brainwashed me into viewing him as a father figure and then assaulted me multiple times. Bowman says Cosby drugged her, then raped her. Her claim follows a 2006 legal settlement stemming from a lawsuit filed by another woman. Now, okay, so that gives you the gist of what's been going on. Now, in this interview, which I have the audio for, I'm going to play.
Real quick, maybe before you play, have you seen the memes that people have made again about him?
No.
He basically made a meme of himself and goes, "Hey, this meme thing's awesome. Everybody meme me." And, and he did it on Twitter, and everybody just laid into him.
Wait, he did it?
He said make memes about me because it's fun. But he meant like funny memes, but everybody basically did rape memes.
It
like,
backfired.
Like one of the funniest ones was like, "I don't always eat Jello, but when I do, it's not consensual. And by Jello, I mean have sex."
Oh, Jesus. All right, so here's the audio.
This question gives me no pleasure, Mr. Cosby, but there have been serious allegations raised about you in recent days. You're shaking your head no. I'm in the news business. I have to ask the question. Do you have any response to those charges? Shaking your head no. There are people who love you who might like to hear from you about this. I want to give you the chance.
Now, this is what I'm talking about. I don't like NPR. They're a bunch of pushovers, in my opinion. But this guy, you know, I always say, where's the hard-hitting questions? This guy is right. He is doing his fucking job. Yeah, if he did not ask this during these allegations surfacing, it would be remiss of a journalist not to do something like that. Mm-hmm. So there's some people might say, well, you know, when a guy comes on an interview, he shouldn't be, you know, bullied when he wasn't expecting to answer these questions. But fuck you, dude. If you're innocent, you know what an innocent man says? No.
Well, another thing is...
you don't say, I'm going to remain silent and I must seek legal advice. No, you know what you say? Greg, you just raped a bitch yesterday.
No, I didn't.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, that's how you don't look guilty. A guilty person denies it by silence. I'm sorry.
For me, I think the host, his approach, he didn't confront him. He just basically said, look...
And he was even apologetic about it.
Yes, exactly.
This question gives me no pleasure, Mr. Cosby.
It takes no pleasure.
This question gives serious allegations raised about you in recent days. Your head no. You're shaking your head no. I'm in the news business. I have to ask the question. Do you have a response to those charges? Shaking your head no. There are people who love you who might like to hear from you about this. I want to give you the chance.
That was the key. He gave him a chance.
You imagine being in that room? You imagine being in that room and the guy is he's answering a question or he's asking him a question and there's just signs. He's just shaking his head. Not even say, hey, I'm not going to answer that or I'm not going to dignify that question. I'm not going to dignify the allegations by answering that question.
He was very polite.
My reputation should stand for itself. That would have made him look brilliant. But instead...
No, I mean, I think the NPR host, I don't know who his name is, but he played it perfectly. Yeah. I mean, he came across as very polite. He wasn't confrontational.
Not at all.
And he gave him a number of chances to go ahead and say at least something.
Man, can you imagine if Bill O'Reilly did the interview?
Oh, yeah, it would have been...
Oh, my God, he'd just been like, so, Mr. Cosby, I hear you raped a woman 17 years ago. Is that true?
You're not getting off of the stage unless you're saying something.
All right, go.
That's what he was.
All right, go. I can't read it. There's no words on it.
No, I don't want any Jello pudding pops.
Fucking thing sucks. What does that mean?
Stop humming the Fat Albert song.
That's funny, dude. That's exactly. He would go off, dude.
Yeah.
He would go off. He would attack it. There we go.
Camille and Bill Cosby, they have lent 62 pieces from their collection of African and African American artists to create an exhibit called Conversations, African and African American Artworks in Dialogue. It's now on display at the Smithsonian National Museum of African Art through.
Oh, then he goes right back to the original interview.
Oh.
I don't think I would do that. I'm like, listen, you're not going to answer my questions, so guess what? Interview is now over. That's what I would do. This guy was way too professional.
Well, you know what? You know what happened? I bet you that once the mics were off, he said something to him.
What do you think he said?
I don't know. I bet you that.
Just take a guess.
I bet you that he probably said that, like we're dealing with it, like it's not true, and whatever.
It's not true.
Yeah. Do you want a Jell-O pudding pop?
No, dude. He just like after the mics went off, he just sat and looked at the guy. He goes, "I'm gonna sing a song for you."
Stupid. He probably raped the NPR host.
Oh,
yeah.
They went out back and they played garbage.
And I'm gonna sing a song for you.
Oh, man. All right, now here's another thing, and these are, of course, women and liberals alike are extremely pissed off with this. And you know what? I am too. Actually, I'm not pissed off. I don't give a shit like that. But I get where people are coming from with this. Don Lemon asked Bill Cosby rape accuser why she didn't bite his penis. You son of a bitch. In an interview, he basically, well, because I guess for some reason, you know what? Here, I'm going to play I have the audio, because that's going to go through a woman's mind when she's being forced to suck a guy's dick.
Damn.
Like, listen, who knows? And to say the solution is to bite the guy's dick, I mean, that's almost too much thinking.
It may have worked for him.
Yeah, but if they're drugged or drunk, like they're not going to think about that.
And
like
that's what she said in this. She said she was stoned. I don't know if that was her bad, but I don't know if it was him doing that to her, if he actually drugged her at this point or not. But I got the audio. Let's listen to it.
You said this last night that you lied to him and said, "I have an infection," and
that's a good maneuver. That's a good maneuver. Like, hey, I have AIDS. Please don't inject your disgusting fat Albert penis in me. Thank you.
Rape me, or if you have intercourse with me, then you will probably get it and give it to your wife.
Right.
And you said he made you perform oral sex.
Right.
So, look at Bill Cosby, though, man. What a guy. This guy is fucking famous and rich, and he's that desperate to get some head right then. He's all, listen, you have a disease, you have AIDS, you have HIV, you have a virus. Okay, it's all right, so suck my dick then. Like, that's desperation.
He thinks he's so beloved that he could get away with anything.
Yeah.
There are ways not to perform oral sex if you want to do it.
I was kind of stoned at the time, and
honestly, with that question, if I was her, I'd be like, oh, tell me what are some ways you got out of blowing somebody? What advice do you have for me? Because you know about blowing and how to get out of it. Explain that to me.
Yeah.
That would have been brilliant if she said that.
Yes, I would agree.
There are ways not to perform oral sex if you want to do it.
I was kind of stoned at the time, and quite honestly, that didn't even enter my mind. Now I wish it would have.
Yeah.
Right.
But
meaning the using of the teeth, right?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
The using of the teeth.
So,
ouch.
Yes.
I like how he had to say that. He's all like, well, in case you don't know what I'm talking about,
I believe
the use of your choppers, your teeth.
I think he's also gay, Don Lemon. So
is he?
Yes, he is.
Oh, yeah. He is in real life. So maybe he does have some pointers.
Yeah,
then.
I know. Yeah, I didn't even
look at him.
You son of a
maybe
bitch.
There's some validity to his statement.
He was trying to give some advice.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
All right, so let's see here. What else do we have that Don Lemon has said?
I had to ask.
I didn't. It didn't cross my mind.
I had to ask. I just had to ask.
No,
I mean,
you didn't.
What did you do as a woman to make sure you didn't get raped? I mean, that's what he was asking.
He's probably looking for tips himself.
Thanks to Don Lemons, he makes the men gender look like a bunch of chump assholes, misogynists again. Because this will give fodder to all the extremist, liberal feminists. This will give them fodder for the next decade. because of that comment. Whether he's gay or not, he's still a man, and he's an asshole for asking that. He is, but now it's going to make all of us look bad.
No, I'm just worried about the teeth.
You son of a bitch. Oh, God. No, but it's like it's one of those things like whenever anybody comes forward with like rape allegations or anything like that, and you get people that go, well, why didn't you try and stop it? Why didn't you do this?
That's a mystery.
Yeah. Well, for a lot of people at the time when it happens, like your body, you go into some sort of shock, and you just feel like, especially if a woman, if you're getting raped and the guy's like holding you a knife point, you're not thinking like, I'm gonna bite his dick. No, you're thinking like, there's a knife in my fucking throat, so I better not do a goddamn thing, or else I'm gonna die.
Right.
Like,
well, dude, the chances are.
I mean, that's what you want on your headstone, right? Is like, she might have died getting raped, but at least she bit the dick.
Well, the chances are is that, okay, Bill Cosby's a big guy. Okay, he's a big guy. I mean, the chances are, imagine if she did bite his dick. He might have killed her, punching her in the head. Because what would you do if something was clamping down your cock? To me, that doesn't even seem like a good idea.
That just like leads to something even worse. I mean, I'm not saying you know, it's better to get raped than get the shit kicked out of you, but like, you know, you bite it, like you might get away and you might get a little beat up, but I mean, again, the worser thing is you could get killed.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's one of those things where, you know, people decide like, well, if you're gonna get raped, you need to do this. Like, yeah, how about somebody attempts to rape you and see if you follow those rules. You remember, like, bite the penis, punch them, whatever.
Yeah,
I highly doubt it.
We actually have a phone call.
Oh shit! Wait, we're not live, are we?
Hold on, let me see if I can connect.
I had an uncle named Stewie, and he used to sell bicycles.
It's Bill Cosby calling in.
Oh,
we didn't know we were having an interview from Bill Cosby. How you doing, Mr. Bill? How you doing? All right. So, since you called in, it was a very timely phone call. I know there's a lot going on that you probably don't want to talk about. You called in to talk about your Netflix deal. Is that correct?
Here I go down the slope. Oh, I'm going zip zop zooming the bop.
I don't even know how that applies. But what I want to ask you, and I take no pleasure in asking you this, Bill. May I call you Bill? Is there any truth to your rape allegations?
I take it no comment.
Maybe. Are you shaking your head? No. Is there any truth to your rape allegations? Any truth, Bill?
I think he's hitting a put.
I think we should just hang up on him. He's not going to answer the hard-hitting question. Sorry, Bill. May you rot in hell. Goodbye.
Say hi to the Junkyard Kids.
Oh, god damn.
Don't go nowhere. The Rain Man will be right back. And now, Bill Cosby joking about date rape.
When I was 13, man, start talking about weird things. Was this, you know what? You know anything about Spanish fly? No, tell me about it. Well, there's this girl, Crazy Mary. You put some in her drink, man. She... Yeah, Spanish, oh yeah, that's really groovy, man. Spanish fly is groovy, yeah, boy. From then on, man, anytime you see a girl, what's your no Spanish fly, boy? Go to a party, see 5 girls standing alone. Boy, if I had a whole jug of Spanish fly, I'd light that corner up over there.
Oh, God, that's funny. Oh, that's good stuff.
Damn, Bill. We thought you were just joking. The Rain Man Show. Calling it like we see it.
We're 90% geek and 1% douche.
All right, let's try to do this. See how the live read works. You guys can pipe in wherever. All right, so we have Roku. Many ways that you can help the Rain Man Digital Network just by clicking through those banners. We have them on all our sites on the bottom and the left corner, the right corner. Best way you guys can help us out is click on the links. Right now we have Roku. You could choose from the widest selection of streaming channels with over 1,800 plus channels in the U.S. and counting. You'll always find something to watch. The most popular streaming channels, Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon. All available at your fingertips, Tony. All available. What do you use for streaming?
I actually bought a
Roku player.
Yeah,
excellent. How do you like it?
I actually like it better than Apple TV. As impossible as that may sound.
Well, Apple TV is good for a lot of reasons, but Roku is more simpler. And the fact that they have they have private channels as well that you can make.
That's a good thing also, because you could get some international channels. I was able to at least show my mom and dad, hey, you could get a channel here from the Philippines, which shocked me. But there's a lot of content, a lot of different variety.
A lot more. They have a lot more to offer than say Apple TV does. So Roku. Now this is TV. Go to RainmanWasHere.com and click on our Roku banners. Thank you. What about the son when he's all like, my pa ain't never had to hang somebody twice?
Yeah, and I didn't quite...
I would have been pissed. I'm like, shut up, you little shit.
Yeah, he seemed a little adopted, didn't he?
Like, he didn't, that would have scared me even more. Like, my pa never had to hang. Basically saying that he kills people real good.
Yeah.
Like, he never had to hang anybody twice. Like, oh, shit. I don't think that comforted her very much.
Yeah. It was kind of neat to see him head back there, but... he was holding a guy with his head all bandaged up or bloody or something, so I really don't know.
Yeah, good analysis there.
Half retarded.
I really don't.
I don't.
Know. I really don't know.
I'm as simple as the little hangman kid.
Oh, gee.
Listen up, cowboys and cowgirls. You can now catch Weird West Radio, the Hell on Wheels edition, every Friday. Only on Rain Man Digital.
Hey, ass butt.
Felt that, but I would have. It needs to be.
It's only episode 199 because Bloodlines doesn't exist.
You get that guy redacted every Wikipedia you go in and put the asterisk.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna love it if Cole does get a spinoff and he does, in fact, in an episode, kill everybody from Bloodlines.
Dude, if that happens, we
sums up that bitch.
What if there was a
like
scene?
They just close the entire plot point of the plot line of Bloodlines.
There's just a scene with a spinoff.
One machine gun.
Very first scene of the spinoff. Right, they're all at that bar again. All the monsters. All of a sudden, doors break down. Navy 6, go, go, go! Gunfire. Everyone's dead.
And just Enos walks in for just no apparent reason, and he gets shot too.
No, not shot. It's more personal. Cole comes up behind him and just snaps his neck.
That's just going too far.
Take that, penis. I mean, Enos.
Oh, come on.
Okay, again though, that name really. Nobody thought they're not going to make fun of this at all.
Yeah, man, it doesn't sound like penis at all.
Yeah.
Don't miss the all-new Supernatural fan show, The Crossroads. Available on Stitcher and iTunes. Search The Crossroads. You're listening to The Rain Man Show on Rain Man Digital.
I stay out too late. Got nothing in my brain. That's what people say. That's what people say. I go on too many dates.
All right. Coming in too with a little bit of a Taylor Swift. I used to not think she was attractive, but something happened in the last year. I don't know if it's because I know that she loves penis, because she does.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's always with some new, dude. And what does that tell you?
It seems like
she's open 24/7 like a 7-Eleven.
No, I'm going to treat her like Bill Cosby treats women.
Oh, Bill Cosby's
so wait, you're not
planning already.
So wait, you're not going to say hello to getting her Jello?
Want a Jello pudding pop?
After Bill Cosby's done, she can just shake it off. Yeah. Anyways, all right. So, a little bit of television stuff here. I knew it was only a matter of time, but there are some complaints coming from the Arrow camp and the Flash camp pertaining to the casting decisions and the decisions in general that DC's doing between the movie and television. And I'm sure this is a lot more deep-rooted, what Steve Amell has said. This is a lot more deep-rooted than just what he said. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of other issues. He actually voiced a complaint saying that TV's Arrow wasn't pleased with the WB-DC movie announcement, while most of the movie-going audience were excitedly abuzz about Warner Brothers' announcement of 9 DC Universe feature films coming out through 2020. Apparently, Steve Amell is speaking on behalf of the Flash, saying that the announcement of the movie Flash and the starring role and the person who got cast as the lead as Flash, it basically came too soon after Flash premiered. Yeah. And he's saying that it's undercutting what they're doing with their show, and that they should have waited to announce this new Flash movie.
I don't know about waiting to announce the movie, but they should have held off on the casting.
Well, I think this is where I think DC could improve on their films, which they're not going to. So
it's over with. Yeah,
they should have basically had, if they're gonna have the Green Arrow and the Flash in the films, they should have had Stephen Amell and Grant Gustin.
Yeah.
In the films.
You know what?
It wouldn't be that hard for them because
they're dead. Especially Steve Amell, because Steve Amell to me has the A-list celebrity star power.
He's their star power for these films.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm sure he's using that to basically make his case about himself as well. Because imagine, okay, right now everyone's about the Flash, everyone's about the Arrow on TV, but when these movies start coming out, you're going to see not everybody watches CW and watches these shows, and you're going to see people who might have wanted to watch these shows might not even give them a second glance now because, well, the movies, I'm going to watch the movies. And in the long run, I think DC is undercutting themselves. And this is where they made their biggest mistake. And I've said this time and time again with how their universe isn't connected like Marvel. And I know they keep saying, well, we don't want to mimic. We don't want to mimic Marvel, but you should, because you are kind of anyways, but you're actually not going through with it. You're putting the tip of your penis in and not putting it all the way through.
You're sitting. You're doing what Mormons do. You just sit there. It's
right.
It's in, but you're not going with the motion. You're not.
It's their way of
right. You're dry humping. That's what you're doing.
It's basically their way of saying that, you know what, this basically should settle it that the universes are separate.
We don't need them to be separate because you have something as great as Arrow is probably the best DC, probably the best superhero television show they've had on television in decades, easily. And yet it will never get the props it deserves once they announce an Arrow movie. It will undercut and undermine everything that they're doing with their own television shows.
And what's funny is they could, in the article they say, the reason why Marvel can keep everything in the same universe because Disney, because they're owned by Disney and Disney owns ABC. Well,
they can do the exact
they can still do the same thing. And the fact that
they chose, for example, Warner Brothers chose to put Gotham on Fox because Fox was willing to pay them more. They chose to do that. They could have put Gotham on CW. They were in the bidding war, but they chose. So if they want to say, oh, they can't do it because it's going to go to different networks, yada, 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 that's complete and utter bullshit. They don't want to do it because they don't want to commit and look like they're copying Marvel, even though they are. Steve Amell is arguably an internet sensation. The guy knows how to work his fandom, his fan base. He is one of the most popular stars right now because of the internet when it comes to television. How do you think they're all going to react when Arrow comes out, gets announced, and he's not Arrow?
They're gonna complain. They're gonna get angry.
It's gonna be bad.
And what's gonna happen?
The thing is, they're not gonna care. They've already committed. I'm telling you right now. Is that I think
DC's not going to care, right? Is that what you're saying?
I think Warner Brothers isn't going to care. Warner Brothers, I think, is just they made that decision long time ago, and I think for me, I'm already over it. Personally, I'm over separation of states.
Right.
I'm more or less, give me at least a good reason why you decided. Why? What was the reason of your separation? Because I'm not going to complain and bitch anymore, because I know that, okay, it is going to cause a huge amount of confusion, and they deserve being criticized.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, I'm horny. I want some dick. No. Fuck you, fuck all of y'all. Fuck every motherfucking body that put me on probation.
God damn.
Dick.
Oh shit! You gotta be kidding
Oh
me.
man, she's fucked off. She's fucking pissed off because she's on probation and she can't leave to go get some dick. Why doesn't she email one of her gentleman callers?
Why don't you just contact Bill Cosby?
Oh,
come on.
He's a doctor.
Yeah.
He can make house calls.
Well, Dr. Huxtable.
Bill Cosby will probably say, "This is the easiest lay that I've had in years."
Oh,
Bill Cosby,
God.
are you on the line? Would you rape this young lady?
Yeah.
No comment. No comment.
God.
Hell, you gonna give me probation? I did 5 months for decent exposure. My boss said $30,000. I can't go to the fucking club if I get my money.
So she can only go to the club to get laid? Like, I can't go to the club.
Jeez. Is she good
Now
looking?
she's jumping up and down. No, look at you, dude.
Is this the same one that, this sort of reminds me of the girl. Well, I'll wait. The girl that was on YouTube a couple shows ago.
Oh, yeah, the Cajun chick. It sounded like, yeah.
I want some dick. Please, somebody please help me. Please. I had an attorney. And he told me I was going to have probation. And I'm getting probation.
Oh, geez.
I have a sex nympho. I really need help.
Oh, my God, dude.
Who put her on probation?
I don't know. She said she had a good attorney, and he said that she wouldn't be on probation. Call his ass over there. He'll give you some D.
I need help to get on probation. So I can do what I gotta do. I can't even leave the state. I'm a traveling.
Wait a second. Was she's an international hooker or something? Like, she's all like, I can't even leave the state. I need some statewide dick. Oh Lord, I don't want to just have just dick from Texas, but I also need it from California too.
Jeez.
Can you imagine being in that much pain for some D?
Oh my God.
And then it took my Facebook from me. My Facebook, the only connection I had with everybody. How the fuck y'all gonna do that shit? You hating bitches.
That's got to be the worst pussy on the planet. That pussy must be poisoned.
I'm gonna kill myself.
Holy shit! She needs to call the hotline for the suicide hotline.
Holy crap.
Excuse me, ma'am. What's your problem? I need some dick.
Oh my God.
I need to get fucked or I'm gonna slip my wrist.
She needs to fist herself.
I mean, Jesus. I mean, can't you just satisfy yourself? Yeah. How can this woman, in this day and age, she puts this shit on a video, right, on YouTube. You would think that there'd be people just flying to her home like, I'm right here.
That right there, right then. If there isn't a line outside of her door, that pussy is poison. It's poison. I'm telling you. It's a minefield.
It's a minefield.
Yeah, it's like you got to go in there with SEAL Force 5 or whatever that is.
Hazmat suits.
Yeah, hazmat suits.
Jesus.
That's like ground zero for The Walking Dead.
I'm gonna kill myself for masturbating so much. I can't stop masturbating.
Oh,
It's
crap.
driving me crazy. I need some dingling.
I need some what?
Ding-a-ling? Ding-a-ling?
Damn.
Holy shit.
She's pulling out all the stops.
Masturbating so much. I can't stop masturbating. It's driving me crazy. I need some dingling.
I stopped masturbating to make this fucking video.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Oh, and my lips.
Holy. And Bill Cosby to the rescue.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
Bill Cosby just showed up to save the day.
Please go fuck me.
Oh, he is.
Go fuck me, I'm horny. If you got a felony, please don't come. I can't be around felonies.
Oh, crap. Sorry, Bill. Do you have any felonies, Bill? Oh, man. If you have a felony, please don't come. I can't be around felons. I like how she threw that in as a disclaimer, though. I'm like, don't come if you have a felony. She's not that. I mean, that's some thinking. That's her like thinking clearly, though.
See, this is the danger of YouTube and the internet.
Yeah.
You know, people
you got
are
a felony, don't come by. I can't be around that.
Please don't come. I can't be around felonies. Please, somebody, please go fuck me.
Oh, wow.
Go fuck me. I'm horny.
All morning.
You know, there's Craigslist.
If you got a felony, please don't come. I can't be around felonies.
Try Craigslist.
Oh, man. Was that like her her dating video? Maybe she uploaded.
Yeah.
She uploaded that to what are the famous video dating sites?
Does
Harmony?
Does Harmony let you do that?
Harmony?
Yeah, there you go.
Harmony.com?
Yeah, that's her profile video.
Yeah. Wow.
Her tag is just,
I thought
me, I'm horny.
I thought that last girl was something, but man, this one just
that bitch takes the cake. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's insane. I don't think I've ever needed anything that bad. Jesus Christ. Yeah. All right, when you go to break, we'll be actually, you know what? Coming up right now is the John Jackson Miller interview. Don't go nowhere. It's a really fun interview. We'll be right back with John Jackson Miller.
But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it is kind of weird because, I mean, it goes against everything as old school Star Wars fans would know is like, why is Darth Vader actually... why does he have the Inquisitor? Because technically he shouldn't... If he's a Sith Lord, he shouldn't have the Inquisitor. It should be him that's tasked with getting rid of all the Jedi.
Unless he's doing like a Tyrannus did and kind of have your own people underneath you.
Yeah.
Because it seems like they're always on the edge of wanting to take over their boss and kill their master.
Kill them.
It seems like none of them are loyal to each other. They all, like even Emperor, Palpatine was like, have you ever heard of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Or whatever his name was.
Darth Plagueis. Darth Plagueis.
Oh my God.
Well, you know,
head over to FromTheBackTheTank.com for more details. And get ready for an excitingly good time. Also, if you've missed our last show, you can also find us on your Stitcher app. Search Back to Tank. Add us to your favorites. Thank you, and we will see you very soon. That is correct. It is your destiny.
I created a monster, cause nobody wants to see monster no more.
So on the line, I have John Jackson Miller. He's an American science fiction author and comic book writer, and also a commentator known for his work on the Star Wars franchise and his research into comic book circulation history. And even bigger news, he's the man that just finished writing the brand new Star Wars novel, A New Dawn, which we're going to talk about that in depth as well today. So how you doing today, John?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. I was trying to dig up some dirt on you, and I can't find anything.
I pay my people well.
Thank you very much for doing the interview. I know you were a very, very busy man.
It's been a crazy year. Wrote 2 novels back-to-back here in the first part of this year, and in the last couple of months have been all promotions.
I know. I looked at your schedule on your website. I'm like, wow, this man's a busy guy. I mean, you're doing signings like every other day, it seems like.
It'll be a pretty busy November, yeah.
Yeah, I bet. When's your downtime usually? Are you busy during the Christmas season as well, or are you going to take a little break?
Pretty much, the way it's worked lately, I've been working on books through the winter and spring, and summer is convention season, and that's usually promoting the books that I wrote during the winter and spring, and then the books come out in August, September. That's just how it's been going lately, but these things change. Certainly whenever I'm doing a lot of comic books, well, the comic books are coming out year round, so the promotion never ends.
Yeah. I know. I was trying to pinpoint like parts of your career that I was going to actually focus on, and it's impossible. Like,
I'm very unfocused.
There's just so much work all over the place. I'm like, wow. And because I know you just recently started your mid last year, you also started your own original series as well.
Yeah.
So, which we'll definitely talk about that. But you've written a lot of books, a lot of comic books. And I am contemplating, reading as much of your books, specifically the one that we just mentioned. What was it? The Overdraft.
Overdraft. Yeah, Overdraft. That's my own science fiction, story series that I started about a year or so ago, and I had done so much work in these other tie-in, franchises: Star Wars, Star Trek, Mass Effect.
Yeah.
That I realized, I actually better try to own something, and so that's how that came about.
Yeah, I mean, why did it take so long for you to say? Because you've been writing for many years, both comic books, and what made you decide? What took you so long to say that? Like, besides the fact, yes, I want to own something, but were you just busy because you were the go-to guy for the Star Trek and Star Wars novels?
I think that pretty much busy sums it up. I started in the comics industry about 20 years ago. I was the editor of the trade magazine in the comics business.
Yeah,
and I did that for about a dozen years. During which I also started moonlighting, writing comic books on the side. And so, at that point, I was pretty much just taking, the assignments as they came along. And eventually I got enough work, together that I could quit the day job and do it full time.
Yeah.
Although I still do that, the comics research I still do, as you mentioned, on another website I've got called Comicron. But once you start getting into things where you're working with Lucasfilm on Star Wars comics, well, that led to doing Star Wars short stories for the Star Wars website. That led to getting to do stuff for the Star Wars role-playing game. That led to getting to do the Indiana Jones adaptation for the movie when we did it as a graphic novel. And then that led to getting to do Star Wars novels. So, kind of one thing leads to the next, to the next, to the next.
Yeah.
And I had enough on my plate that I just never got around to doing anything of my own.
Yeah. Was that a dream gig for you when they approached you to start doing these Star Wars graphic novels?
Oh, sure. It was something where actually I approached them. I had just gotten done doing some work for Marvel. I wrote Iron Man for a year, and I in the course of my business happened to be visiting the folks at Dark Horse Comics, and I saw that the Star Wars editor was there, and I said, "Hey, can we talk?" And it's not one of those. My path into the business is not going to be this. The one that anybody else is going to be able to take.
Yeah.
And this is why I tend not to do these sort of how to break into comics or how to break into fiction.
Right.
Things, because my path is completely unlike anybody else's. And of course, all the things that I used to work for, these magazines, Comics Buyer's Guide, Comics Retailer, these are all gone. There aren't any, magazines. Even Wizard Magazine used to be the big one.
Yep.
They're all gone.
Yeah.
So that whole path into the business has changed and evolved, and of course now it's websites and blogs and that sort of thing. It's just not the same business.
No, not at all. It's a completely. I mean, the landscape is 100% turned around, completely different. I mean, 10 years ago, I don't think people. I mean, there's a few people who had the foresight to predict this, but I don't think anybody really foresaw magazines being completely done away with. I mean, yes, blogs have been around since the early 90s. But it's really in the last, I would say, 10 years where it's just really kicked into gear, where you see blogs, basically taking over all magazines. Now, do you have an issue with being a person who is a professional writer? Do you have any type of issues or qualms with the fact that bloggers have now become, and a lot of these people, to be fair, they're not they're not traditional journalists per se. So you get
neither were neither was it the case that everybody that was working on the fan magazines was a traditional journalist either.
Okay.
I happen to be, but that was the path that I took in. I think we use the tools that are available.
Right.
When I was doing my own comics as a teenager, I was doing mini comics, small press comics, mailing them back and forth, stuff that you photocopied on your photocopier. Yeah, and I was doing my own fanzines that way. If I had the internet, you bet I would have done a blog. You bet I would have done a webcomic. That's just what you use.
Right.
I think the thing that happened with the magazines in comics and a lot of other fields, because I was editor of also a magazine called Scry, which was for the card game, the Magic the Gathering, card game. One of the problems that happened is that all of these magazines, the business model was predicated on advertising. It was predicated on the idea that we will use this magazine to put collectors in touch with each other. The classified ads were a huge thing, just like your local newspaper. And just like your local newspaper, the internet killed that business. So really, it wasn't the blogs that took out these publications nearly to the extent that it was eBay. The fact that you could actually get this stuff, the mail order customers were connecting with people online, and they weren't, going through an intermediary. And so, I saw that was happening, and that's kind of why I started freelancing when I did, because I saw that that change was on the way.
Yeah, and I guess it really is all about the content and what you're getting and how it's getting out there. And I guess that's really all that matters. If there's a need for it, people are gonna ingest it any way they can.
And a lot of the people that are high-profile bloggers right now are people who were trained in the print era of things. Heidi McDonald, who runs the Comics Beat blog, worked for us at Comics Buyer's Guide as a freelancer for almost 20 years. And of course I've got my Comicron website, my database of sales charts and everything. Well, that's all stuff that started when I was working on the magazine. So, I think people will gravitate towards people that they see have expertise and knowledge and understand the history of things. And so, I think you've got people that are being followed out there that have a good track record.
And then looking at it this way, then do you think the rise of fandoms, in general, because definitely it's a lot bigger than it was. Everybody is a geek nowadays. Everybody loves the geek culture. Do you think that has to do with the freedom of the internet and how you see more and more people popping up on blogs then?
Well, certainly. I mean, the fact that anybody can publish, without having to have a printing press or a photocopy machine or anything like that, it makes this a hobby that is much easier to participate in. And I've always thought that it was a strength of comics that anybody who bought comics wanted to do their own. That was not always the case with other things. I mean, you could be a football fan but not want to put on a helmet and get out there and play. I've always thought that comics are one of those things where even me as a kid, 6 years old, I thought I looked at the comics and I said, I could do those, and so I did my own. And same with the fanzines. Once I started getting Comics Buyer's Guide when it was a nuppaper in my teenage years, I looked at that and said, I can do my own fanzine, my own newsletter, and I did those for a while. So I think it's a strength. The internet certainly democratizes the whole thing, makes it much easier for people to get in. It reduces the barriers to entry, as they say.
Oh yeah. Now, switching topics briefly here, actually switching gears, I should say, you've had the privilege, let's get into the Star Wars stuff. You've had the privilege to be a part of the new revamped Star Wars expanded universe. And of course, anybody that, has, half of an ear to the street knows that there's a lot of pros and cons from the fandom. A lot of people upset. A lot of people say it's a good thing. Now, were you excited when you were approached to write the very first novel of the new? I guess I don't want to know if people are calling it the new EU or just the new revamped EU.
What it is, it's the canon. It's
right.
It's not the new EU because the old EU was never canon according to the way that they've described things.
Okay.
Yeah. And the thing is, I wasn't approached to do that. I was approached to write a novel that would be a prequel to the Rebels TV series that would be set in between Episode 3 and Rebels, telling about the Empire in this period and what it was like to live in this time, and also showing the first meeting of the two Rebels principals. Yeah. But there wasn't anything about any change to the process, or rather any change to the canon described to me then. That didn't come along. That wasn't decided until I was about 3/4 of the way through the book.
Really?
Really? Wow.
And at that point, that's when we decided to make the title New Dawn, and that's also when I went back and I didn't have to make a lot of changes because I always try to write novels that are easy to get into. I didn't have a lot of callbacks or references to older things.
Right.
And the callbacks that I did have, the references that I did have, were totally in line with what they wanted, because the older material, as they've said, the older material is not being discarded. It remains there to be used as inspiration and for us to draw from.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of stuff in that novel: planets, species, chemicals, substances, technology that was introduced in earlier books. And it works the same way as it did then. The only deal here is that just because I'm citing this particular thing that popped up in this novel way back, that doesn't mean that everything that happened in that novel then is part of the new movie era. Right. Thinking here. And why did they do this? It's very simple. It's because they want to make sure that they have as much room when they're making these new movies, not just 7, 8, 9, but also the standalone movies that they're talking about doing. They need to have as much freedom to tell the best story that they can.
Yes.
Without having to worry about colliding with a short story or a comic book reference that I may have dropped 10 years ago.
Right.
And the other thing that's very good about this is what they started is something called the Lucasfilm Story Group.
Right. Okay.
My book is the first one that has been done in conjunction with the Story Group. What they're doing is they are not simply coordinating the movies and the TV show and the novels and the games and that sort of thing with each other, currently, but they're actually, since they know what the story is going forward, they're able to interlace things, and they're able to actually, they gave me some things that I could put into the New Dawn book that would tease events that would come along later in Rebels. And also, because everything is now on the same level, it's entirely possible, or it's a lot more possible than it was in the past, I'll put it like that a character or a concept from my book could turn up in the movie, could turn up in the TV show. When that sort of thing happened in the past, it happened sometimes, but it was more of an accident or just something that it was a byproduct of the process. It was not central to the whole idea. The whole idea now is that the Star Wars story that's being told month by month by month is being told on multiple platforms and is being coordinated by this group, so that it's not something where the TV show or the movies are off in a different world, and every so often they'll drop some continuity that might interfere or conflict with something that we've got in the comics or the novels. It should all be a lot more coordinated going forward.
Yeah. So you didn't really need to. So you don't know directly yet, because you started writing this novel before they decided to, I guess, change things up within the canon. you didn't have any guidelines set up necessarily from the Lucasfilm Story Group, the new entity that's controlling all canon.
Oh well, I had guidelines because I was talking with them through the whole process.
Did you?
That's what I was going to ask. Is like, was there like, did you have to go through a lot of rewrites or like back and forth with this group?
Yeah, what I did is when I made my story proposal, that was actually after I had already heard from them. Here's the places where it might be interesting to tell a story, before Rebels, and I selected the area that I wanted to focus on, which was actually the one farthest back in time from Rebels, and then what happened is we went through a process where, as I submitted my drafts, we got comments from the executive producers of the Rebels series, all three of them. On what they thought I could tweak or what they thought I could introduce or drop in there. I had a conference call with Dave Filoni, one of the executive producers, where we discussed in detail how these characters Kanan and Hera would react to each other at this point in time, and it was also made clear to me most of this is going to be my story. Here's what I'm going to be able to develop. And I suggested a bunch of things that they were fine with and said, go for it. It was clear to me, for example, that Kanan, the lead character in Rebels, could not simply be bumming around the galaxy doing nothing. The Empire would expect him to have a job somewhere,
right.
And so I came up with this idea that he had this. Sort of very dangerous job, kind of like the ice road truckers that you'll see on TV. He's flying explosives, and I love it. It's something where if you want to be left alone, that's a good job to have.
Yeah, I really like that. That's one thing I loved about your book, and the same thing with what they're doing with Star Wars Rebels. It was enjoyable to see a new version of a Jedi that we haven't got to see yet. A guy that's afraid to use the Force. He doesn't have, because normally, a lot of these circumstances he finds himself in, if this was during the time with the Jedi, he would get himself out of these problems in a heartbeat. But because he cannot expose who he is, he finds himself in these predicaments that are a lot more challenging, and it's fun. It brings a new level to the story.
Well, that's right, and I had just done a book called Kenobi, which
great book.
Yeah, thank you. It's about Obi-Wan Kenobi's first month on Tatooine, where it sort of worked with this dynamic of the Jedi as a superhero with a secret identity.
Yeah,
where
I love it.
He's able to do stuff, but if he does it, he has to do it so that nobody sees it.
Yeah.
And so there are these fun devices in Kenobi where he's actually able to do heroic Jedi things, but he's got deniability about it, sort of like Clark Kent.
Yeah.
With Lois Lane. Something strange just happened here. I don't know what it was.
I find myself, the kid in me, like when I'm reading along in these stories, it's exactly how I felt. It's like it's a secret identity, and you always want, when you're watching these superhero shows, you want him to tell everyone who he is. You want him to have the credibility of like, I am Superman or I am Batman, and you find yourself
or I am Iron Man. Yeah,
right, and that's why that moment in Iron Man was so great, because that's what you always want. And but going back to Kanan, like you find yourself wanting him to say, like, man, if I was him, I'd be like, look, I'm a Jedi, I just can't talk about it. Like, and you find yourself really invested in the secrecy of this guy's identity.
That's the place in time where we're at. I mean, these guys are living underground. They don't know how long they're going to have to live underground. The Sith lived underground for 1,000 years, so it was. They don't know how long this cycle is going to go, and in particular, Kanan has it even worse than Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan at least has some idea as to what has happened.
Right.
Obi-Wan also has a mission, protecting Luke Skywalker, and sort of committing to that mission is the point of the Kenobi novel. Kanan has no mission. He didn't graduate. He was just sort of barely in there, and so when he gets out, he worries about getting caught for a while, and he worries about seeing, is there anything I can do to turn this thing around? But then after a couple of years, he's like, you know what? The Jedi were the light that failed, and I guess I'm gonna just go my own way. And some of these Jedi rules, like not getting to date, were terrible anyway. So
I love that line when he's in the book, when he's actually going through that thought process of dating and women and all. I was like, this is good, because these are all things you think about when you're watching Star Wars. I'm like, really? You can't date when you're a Jedi? Well, that's not fun. I'm like, yeah, a cool lightsaber and some Force, but who am I going to impress if I can't get the ladies?
I've been critical of that in a few different books. Of the Jedi's decision not to do that. Also way back in my Knights of the Old Republic comics, we had some characters make some statements about that too. So yeah, I mean, if the children of Jedi are strong in the Force, you got to wonder if the Force knows what it's doing by saying don't date.
Right. Yeah. Let's talk about Count. I want to make sure I pronounce this because I have no basis for this. Count Vidian. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Count Vidian.
Okay. Now he's an all new original character. Am I right am I correct? Yeah. Okay. How did you come about to create this character? And I don't want to give any spoilers out to our listeners who haven't read your book yet, but I do want to say, I want to preface this and say Count Vidian is very worthy among the great Star Wars villains. That character is so scary. Oh, he stands out. So scary. As soon as you would describe him in the book, I was like, this guy belongs on the Empire list. Like, he was great. What was the development process with a character like that?
Well, Count Vidian is sort of the Emperor's efficiency expert. It struck me that the main thing that would be going on in the Empire right now, at this time frame, several years after Return of the Jedi, or Revenge of the Sith, the Empire would be trying to build up this giant space, navy, all these Star Destroyers, Death Star, all this other stuff going on, from what had been the Republic, which didn't even have an army. So it struck me that there would this huge military industrialization going on, and that somebody had to be in charge of that. And certainly in Hitler's Germany, there were guys like that who were sort of the uber managers, the super guys, and it struck me that Vidian would be a character who probably would have been important and powerful and rich in the Republic days, and he's sort of this corporate takeover artist, this corporate fix-it guy who goes in there and turns around industries. But he would have made the jump. He would have signed on with Vidian. Signed on with the Emperor. He would have been a full-throated supporter of the Empire, and that he would be sent from planet to planet, getting these old industrial worlds knocked into shape so that they could do what the Empire wanted. And he also happens to be a cyborg, and this is one of those things where he's taken his philosophy for manufacturing and sort of let it play out with his physical body as well. He's optimized everything about himself so that he's more efficient, so that he's more effective, so that he's more frightening. And so he's somebody that is able to walk through this book and leaves destruction in his wake, and at the same time he's somebody that previously had a cult of personality around him, such that there's one of the characters in the book, Skelly, who is who actually thinks of him as sort of a hero for a while,
right?
And then of course things go wrong.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's what I wanted with Vidian, was somebody who sort of existed in a different place from Vader in terms of the Emperor's minions. This is a guy that gets down and dirty with the logistics of running an empire.
Yeah, and his presence that you created was so well done, because I could picture him immediately, the uncomfortable awkwardness in a few of these scenes that you wrote, where I could imagine it on screen if I was watching as a movie, because I mean, just the awkwardness where people are talking to him and he just kind of shuts down because he's communicating in his head on the comm links.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you imagine if we were watching that, it would just be this if you were that person trying to communicate with him, this overbearing, scary looking guy, empowering figure is just silent, staring at nothing. I mean, it's just the awkward fear that this guy creates in the characters. It definitely came through in the writing, which is good.
And it's like, just like what you said, it's like that efficiency. It's not like Darth Vader, where Darth Vader is like very threatening physically. More or less, Count Vidian. I love the fact that you actually brought it up, like the whole connection with like World War II and the Germans and the SS, because he is that, like, his villainy is his efficiency.
Yeah,
and it's a simplistic efficiency, and it doesn't matter how it gets done; it has to get done.
Yes, that's right. And I draw a lot on history for a lot of these things, and as I said, certainly there's that World War II connection with the Germans. There's also, though, I mean, my graduate degree was in Soviet studies, and
yes,
so,
I can tell. I can,
and so I look, one of my models for what things were like at this time was the Soviet Union in the 1920s and 1930s when they're industrializing. Millions of people are killed in the course of reorganizing agriculture, reorganizing all of the different industries, turning that country from a farmland into a place with smokestacks over the course of 20 years. It struck me that would be sort of the feeling that would be out there, as this as the Republic slips into this totalitarian state.
Yeah. Well, I could definitely see you have a political eye, which is good because it stays true to Lucas's. Because there's a lot of books that don't really focus on the political side of things, and even though it's not very overt, it very much is within the subtext. I can tell that you draw a lot, even on current topics, particularly with the surveillance aspect and how they're interfering with every portion of our life. That's very relevant and timely for what's going on right now. And I think that's key to having a successful book, whether it be, science fiction. You can always put a little bit of relevant, timely information into your book and make it feel that much more real, and that we can connect to it that much more. And that's what made this book stand out to me among the many Star Wars books I've read, is that you delved in, you weren't preachy, but you delved into real life issues and made this story seem real.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting thing there, because we do have that surveillance subplot that's in there, and I knew as I was writing it that there would be people who would say, "Oh, well, this is ripped from today's headlines. This is all Edward Snowden." The fact, really, though, is there was never a moment where I wouldn't have done an Imperial novel without surveillance in it, and the real inspiration is actually probably more 1984. George Orwell, than anything present day. But I did want to have this character in that storyline, in that subplot, Zaluna, who is actually part of the surveillance state, and it's her job. She actually thinks that what she does is good for the people of the planet that she's on. But like the people in the other parts of the Empire, she sees what she does slowly being corrupted and made worse and worse and worse by the touch of the Emperor. So I mean, it's one of those things where I guess we profited a little bit from the fact that it was a high profile thing at the moment. But I think even if you write this book in 1985 or well, you can't write it before Star Wars, but the Empire would have been spying on people no matter what.
It makes sense.
In fact, I mean, there was sort of I think even in the Star Wars holiday special in 1979, they had or 78 it might have been, they had a two-way TV screen or something like that in the Wookiee's house. I'm trying to remember.
Did they really?
I do remember that.
You're the holiday special, David. Yeah. Freak over there. Like.
Yeah, I do remember that they had like a two-way TV set.
Well, that and that's right out of the two-way TV screen. That's right out of 1984. I mean, that's
I never
right
thought about
Orwell.
that.
Well, that's one of the best things, and I don't think George Lucas gets a lot of credit for some of the writing that he does when it comes to like the political side of things. I mean, when you really
he wouldn't want any credit about the holiday special.
Well,
Nobody wants any credit for that. I mean, I have people ask me for it because I have a copy, and everybody's like, "Oh, I've never seen it." And I'm like, "Yeah, there's a reason."
Oh, come on!
I saw it when it aired.
Okay, what did you think back then when you watched it? The very first time you watched it, what did you think?
I thought the Boba Fett cartoon was cool. I thought seeing Luke Skywalker, was cool. But yeah, that was about it.
Yeah, it's the two parts you really like.
And of course, I'll watch. I will watch Harvey Korman and B. Arthur and anything.
B. Arthur and anything. Yeah.
So that much is cool. But yeah, it was clear that a lot of the other people did not want to be there.
I thought the hollow, like the little hollow. Little dance scene, like little circus that the kid watched.
Yeah, I think that was the two-way TV scene.
I was just like, I was like, do I have to be on acid to really understand what's going on here?
Yeah, this was really more 1970s television than anything to do with Star Wars.
And then somebody had asked me that at a comic book shop, they wanted to see it, and I played it in the scene where the Grandpa Wookiee puts the headset on, and I had a parent walk up going, is this like a simulated sex? And I go, I don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
I was like, I beats me.
Yeah. All right. Well, are there any other plans to use you within the expanded universe anytime soon? Like comic books? Do you have anything in the works?
Well, the rules always are, unless something's announced, I can't say anything about it, and so it's one of those things.
What if you tell us off the air? We'll turn off the recorder. I promise.
No, it's one of those things where whether I have something or not, I wouldn't be able to say. So
here we go. Don't say anything if you do. Ready?
Okay.
And
see, that's the trick from All the President's Men, and they got it wrong in that movie too. So
just nod twice, okay? That's it.
Yeah, no. They
if you're doing something, knock 3 times.
No, I certainly enjoy working in Star Wars in the Star Wars sandbox, and would always be happy to do so again. And I'm always working on something. Actually, the very next project I have coming out. And I'm thinking the cover will be released in the next week or so here.
Oh, nice.
Is my first Star Trek novel. And
awesome.
That comes out January 27th. And it is a Star Trek The Next Generation novel. It is called Takedown. And it is so much fun. It is Riker versus Picard facing off in 2 different starships. There's a particular situation that puts them on opposite sides. That I've concocted here, and of course, even though they're friends, they're also really talented captains, and so it's this fun chess game that we have in this book, and we also another cool thing about it is I got done with the novel, and then I realized they don't set foot on a planet in the entire book. It is all space travel. It is all space combat.
Oh, that's cool.
And so, if that is the kind of Star Trek you like, you don't have to have read any of the other novels to be able to dig this. Same for A New Dawn. We're trying to do all these books and all these franchises so that you don't have to have done a lot of research beforehand to be able to get into them.
Yeah.
If you haven't, pretty much all you need to have done to get into this this Trek novel is to have watched a few episodes of Next Generation.
Yeah.
And that ought to do it.
Oh. Well, that leads to I have one more, topic, and then we'll let you go. I know we kept you on for a while now. That kind of leads to the next thing. Now, talking about your Star Trek stuff and comparing the two between Star Wars and Star Trek, there's obviously this new trend of the long form storytelling that everybody would want to do. You see it with Marvel franchise, with Avengers. Obviously they're doing the same thing now with Star Wars, where everything's going to count. Yes, you'll be able to enjoy things as a standalone. But do you think it may, if we keep doing this, do you think it's going to end up ruining other franchises because you're going to see more and more people want to do it? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
The fact that more people want to do it is because it works.
Right.
It engages people in the time in which there's no movies, in the time frame in which there's no anything else coming out or no TV shows. I think people have recognized that this is the way to go with things. And I mentioned earlier I wrote some of the co-wrote some of the Mass Effect graphic novels with the with the video game. They did it even there, where what happens in the video game is equal to what happens in the novels, is equal to what happens in the comics. It's all the same. It's all coordinated with the same thing. And I think the challenge simply is figuring out a way to do it. The problem with Star Wars, the problem with Star Trek and everything else has always been the fact that TV, movies, those production schedules are very much different from novels and comics.
Yeah.
And it's not possible to make a change in a cartoon that is being drawn over the course of a year in wherever it's being animated, just because something happened to change or a fact happened to be dropped in a novel. So I was joking with the guys with Rebels that I should give Kanan an eye patch in my novel and force them to put an eye patch on him everywhere in the cartoon. That's they would not be able to do that. So what the story group does is it starts all of these questions much earlier, so that and they also have representatives who are on these other shows that are able to give us some feedback on the fly and say, okay, hey, here's what's happening here. So it's not a first class, second class, third class kind of thing. And I got to say, I think it is so much better than it was in the past. 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, that the thought that what happens in the novels or what happens in the comics actually happens to the movie characters, that was a ridiculous thought. Nobody ever looked at that stuff that way. It was all tie-in merchandise. It was all equivalent to another T-shirt. I mean, these tie-in books have been out forever and ever and ever. I mean, all the way back to when they were doing radio shows.
Right. Yeah.
There were comic books based on the radio shows, but nobody ever would have said, "Hey, Gene Autry, your character in the comics has had this happen over here. You've got a different horse. We need you to change your horse in the radio show." That wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And I think now we're in this sort of fusion age, I guess, if you want to call it, where we're synthesizing all of these different these different media and subcultures, and we're bringing them together. And here's what my hope is: that it will get some people who are watching the movies to want to read the books.
Yeah.
And get some people who are maybe in some other franchises, get some people who are reading the books to play the role-playing game, or to try the comics, or something else like that. I mean, that's the key. It's the way to do it is if it's a two-way street. When it's a one-way street, it doesn't work so well, and because everybody wants to feel like the medium that they're most interested in, whether it's comics or novels or whatever. They want to feel like that one counts. That one's what's happening. Yeah. That one's the center of the universe. And they don't like it when something comes in from the outside and changes everything. They really want to have everything flow back and forth together. I remember when the early '90s when Marvel started doing the Spider-Man TV series. For a very brief time, they went back and changed all the logos of the Spider-Man Spider-Man comics to match the Spider-Man cartoon. And I remember the fans at the time were like, "Okay, wait, no, the comic version is ours. It's got a history. It's had the same logo for the last 35 years. That should stay." And they ended up changing it back. But I love the fact that, for example, we had these Marvel movies here announced this week. The Doctor Strange logo is the logo from the comics.
Yeah. Yeah. It's smart that they're doing that. Do you think something like Star Trek would benefit from doing something similar to what Star Wars, or similar to what Disney and Lucasfilm's doing with Star Wars?
Star Trek is a little bit more complicated because the rights are split between two different holders.
I didn't know that. Really?
Well, yeah. The movies are all being produced by Paramount and Bad Robot, which was J.J. Abrams' company. Yeah. The TV show and all of that. That's all. Everything associated with Next Generation and the TV show stuff is CBS.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. There's a little bit. It's a little bit more complicated there. But no, they've got a guy at CBS that is coordinating all the novels and all the comics and everything that's coming through the same way. It's not a. So I mean, they work very hard to make sure that nothing conflicts. But there is a reason why the two universes are kind of separate. It's because that's the way they decided to go with the films.
Right.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Now, briefly, the Overdraft series. Again, your original story, your narrative story, that's available now, right? And now you can get it as a whole, correct? I know you were doing something kind of creative with it. You were doing like the old school serials. You're just releasing them.
We released a book serialized with that, and I've also done some other short stories associated with it. And people can find this on Amazon. Just look for Overdraft, and you'll find it. Overdraft is a science fiction story set in the 22nd century. It is a time frame in which Earth has been welcomed into the galactic trading community, and so there's big business is the order of the day, and the story focuses on a sort of a Wall Street hedge fund stockbroker who, from the safety and security of his desktop, he accidentally bankrupts his interstellar expedition. And the mercenaries with the expedition don't want to go off into unemployment, so they come back to Earth and they grab him. And they say, okay, you're coming back with us to the frontier, to the most dangerous planets where no one has ever traded with these aliens that are out there, and you're going to get our money back one planet at a time.
Oh, jeez.
And it's a fun story where they're actually on a deadline in the first storyline where he's got to make $100 billion in 100 days, and so we've got these mercenaries and this traveling salesman, and they hate each other, and it's just a whole lot of fun. And the fact that it was released as a serial gives it sort of that Planet of the Week kind of feeling.
Yeah.
That I wanted it to have, because it literally was a Planet of the Week when the serial was coming out.
I love it. That idea was so brilliant. So I wish I heard about that last year, and I would have been one of the ones subscribing to that weekly. Was it a weekly release?
It's now available in one piece. So, like I said, just search for Overdraft, or to go to my website farawaypress.com, and you'll be able to get it. There's also a short story prequel which is out there, and that's just like 99 cents. And then there's another story which is in that universe coming up in an anthology that releases, I guess November, called Apollo's Daughters, and my story is the lead story in that one. And that is, again, another sort of fun chapter to all this. I will return to that universe to do more at some point in the future, but it's a matter of getting enough time.
Yeah. Well, look at you, John, a busy man. I mean, seriously, do you have time? Do you have time to, do you have any hobbies, or do you? I mean, I'm serious. Do you have any hobbies, or do you find yourself doing, or is your hobby your work, or writing?
Well, this is the problem: is when your hobby becomes your job, you got to find something else. I don't do a lot because again, I'm playing catch up on all this stuff.
Yeah.
Really, that Comicron site is close to how I interact with comics as a hobby right now. What that site is it's the world's largest database of comic book sales figures. So I've got data going from the 1930s all the way up to last month, and so it's a place where people go to kind of settle arguments about what's selling better or what's selling worse. And it's also a place where collectors who want to know, hey, how many Walking Dead ones were out originally,
right?
Can get that information. And I think that's vital because it takes one of the big question marks always out of these transactions. How scarce is this thing? And then it also, and really the reason that I do it, the larger point of it is to kind of give some context, give some perspective as to the comics industry, and to really help people understand that comics have been around for all this time. Yes, comics have had their ups and downs. Comics have nearly died 3 times.
Yeah.
That's what Will Eisner used to say. But every time we invented a way out of it, we came up with something, and it's come back better than before. And right now things are doing very well.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely I would call would you call this the golden age of comic books right now? Or do you think?
No, that was 1937 to 1945.
I missed that one.
Or so,
I missed that one. Well, like I said, there's no personal information. I always like to bring a little bit personal touch to the interviews, but I Googled, I did my research. I can't find nothing. There's nothing. You are a very private man. There's nothing. No family feuds. No ex-wife drama. no hidden runs that we need to know about. Nothing.
Well, no, my wife and kids, we occasionally will go out to the conventions together. It's just, my kids are kind of blasé about what Dad does for a living. It's a strange thing.
I would be excited. I wish you were my dad.
Well, I tell you, they weren't nearly as impressed by Star Wars as they were when I finally got to write some Simpsons.
Really?
Because I wrote some Simpsons comics, they thought that was great.
So
they thought that was cool. So. It's sort of a I guess when you live around all this stuff all the time, it's sort of just part of the background.
Yeah, I did find, however, that you did attend school with Chris Hardwick.
Oh yeah, Chris.
That's all over the internet. Did he try to put you on his game show Singled Out at one point?
No. Actually, when I was watching that show, I didn't know that was him. I was like, that looks like him, but I can't believe he'd be out there.
That's so funny.
Chris was a freshman when I was a senior, and actually, Chris was my he was my appointed freshman to torture during freshman initiation.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, really?
Poor guy.
And he was. And the thing is, I hated hazings, and I couldn't stand that. So I cut him loose after day 2. But he was having so much fun with it. He kept doing everything all the other kids were doing, the dress up and everything like that. And you could just tell back then this kid's going to be an entertainer.
Yeah, he's a funny guy for sure. Anyways, all right. Well, thanks for your time, John. That's it for today. And hopefully, maybe down the road, you come out with another book. We'll get you back on and discuss that. I'm really enjoying your work so far, John. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you. And folks want to find out more about my stuff. Farawaypress.com. I've got behind the scenes pages on there for every book that I've ever done, except for A New Dawn. I need to get that one done and get that one put up there.
Yeah.
And then on Twitter, I am JJM Faraway.
All right. You heard the man. Go check him out. Thank you so much again, John.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Don't go nowhere. The Rain Man will be right back.
Adam Eve. AdamandEve.com. Everybody should be going to AdamandEve.com. Right now, they are giving out 10 free gifts. They're giving you 10 free gifts with your first purchase. You buy one item at the regular price, and you get 10 free items, plus a sexy surprise for her, adventurous new toy for him, plus 6 full-length DVDs. So you buy one item, you get 10 free gifts, a sexy surprise for her, an adventurous toy for him, and 6 full-length DVDs. Also, they'll be paying for your shipping, so there is no shipping. All you do is buy one item. Go to AdamandEve.com, and at checkout, enter DEAL30. The universe of Rain Man never stops. Bookmark rainmanchannel.com/RainmanChannel001. Listen to the current week's show on replay anytime on the 24-hour channel.
Rain Man Channel 001.
I'm just saying.
The
Jesus
gorillas.
Christ.
You must follow us to the diamond mines. I'm Tim Curry.
Yeah, but they're 7 inches. And hold on. The average condom length is 7 inches.
Okay.
So
the average length of a man over there is what?
Well, in the Congo, it's 7 inches. Let me find out what Ugandan.
Okay, now you got to remember: is this flaccid?
No, this is hard.
Okay.
This is hard.
Well,
What did you Google to find that information?
You need to share it with. You need to share it with Mickey.
Well, you guys want to know the hard truth about penis size around the world?
Tell us the hard truth,
Yeah.
Brian. I want the hard truth on dick size. If you take my meaning, sir.
Brian Smith thrusts himself into facts.
Brian with nightly news.
God damn it! It's in centimeters. I can't read this shit.
Giving it to us straight and hard.
Google a conversion system. You can find the length of hard dicks all across the world, and you can't convert centimeters into inches.
Relive your favorite moments with shows from the archives and be entertained.
You didn't know this, dude?
No, I love Rodriguez, and she's putting fucking Lady Gaga.
I think she's gonna do
Scenes are already filmed, dude. They put out the movie poster's been out all over the net for a week.
All right, give me some music. Give me some music.
What kind of music?
I need some music. Lady Gaga music.
Oh, Jesus.
And give me an echo too.
We're gonna try this again.
Yes, I need an echo. I got it. Hello, 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 my little monsters.
Don't yell though.
I have just been cast in a movie by the director of movies such as El Mariachi, Desperado, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, that movie with Frodo and Usher that made no sense.
What?
So, I don't know, Lady Gaga, go dress in an egg suit. Is she going to dress as an egg suit and Michelle's going to stab the shit out of her and serve her up as an omelet? I hope.
Bookmark RainManWasHere.com/RainManChannel001 and look for the Rain Man app coming soon to your app store.
I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good
All right, Rain Man Show, Rain Man Digital. Melissa is not here today, so Greg has officially volunteered to be our news lady today.
You guys totally fucking lost out.
So
this is where everybody tunes out that I take over.
So dumb. All right, so let's just jump into this news, and then we're done with the show today. Very tired, so let's just wrap this up. What do we have in the news, Greg?
Well, first story is seals accused of sexually assaulting penguins. Scientists documenting wildlife in the sub-Antarctic are shocked after witnessing multiple incidents in which fur seals sexually harassed penguins.
Yeah, Bill Cosby seals.
Oh.
They did initially offer the penguins pudding pops and then went to business. The Antarctic fur seals of Marion Island in the southern Indian Ocean often hunt king penguins for food, but in 2006, researchers, according to the BBC, male and female penguins mate through... Wait, what? Where did this... Did they totally just cut this up? Oh, here we go. Let's see. All 4 known sexual incidents followed a common pattern. Each time a seal chase captured and mounted the penguin, the seal then attempted copulation several times, lasting about 5 minutes each, with the periods of rest in between. In 3 of the 4 recorded incidents, the seal let the penguin go, but on one of the more recent occasions, the seal killed and ate the penguin after trying to mate with it. This is also, as they've dubbed it, the seal covering up the evidence.
Now, there was another side note on that article where I guess a scientist found a way to speak to the penguin and actually asked him, basically said, is there any other way that you could prevent this seal from raping you? And he suggested possibly biting, I heard.
He did, but the penguin responded with, well, I was high on fish at the time. So it didn't cross their mind.
I think these seals might be related to Bill Cosby.
Wow.
I just might.
It just might.
What else is on there? Is there anything else in the news or that article?
There's nothing else in that article. Basically, we covered it.
All right. What else is in the news?
Let's see. We have here one Ferguson protester's unlikely mission to save police chief's job.
Mm-hmm.
Ferguson, Missouri, Phil Gassaway has spent the last 100 or so days advocating justice for Michael Brown Jr., the black teen shot and killed by a white police officer here in August. Gassaway has ducked and dodged rubber bullets and tear gas fired by police and braved extreme temperature and emotion. But these days, as a grand jury is poised to decide whether to indict Darren Wilson, the officer who killed Brown, Gassaway is hitting the streets and rallying for an unlikely player, Ferguson Police Chief Thomas Jackson. For weeks now, Gassaway, who's 35, has gone door to door with a clipboard and petition asking Ferguson residents to keep Jackson from being fired or replaced. Gassaway insists the issues in Ferguson go beyond the chief and that Jackson deserves more time to right the ship.
That's probably a lot more reasonable than I've ever thought would come out of Ferguson.
This guy is a genius. I mean, he's speaking. I love it that they actually covered this because this guy's a no-name. He's not anybody, running for office. He's just a guy with a smart man with a leveled head. And the fact that he could say, listen, I do not want politicians making decisions for us because they're trying to save face, because it's the right thing to do. PC, we're going to get rid of the chief, the chief?
Police chief.
The police chief, right, Greg?
Yeah.
Not like if anyone is going to make sure this police chief is going to be fired, it will be us and the community making the decision, not politicians trying to save face and want the pat in the back. I admire that so fucking much when I actually heard about this on the news, because I like that when people can say, no, we're not going to allow someone else to control our fate. We in this community are going to control our own fate.
Yeah.
We are going to decide if this guy's gone.
They've been going at this for a better part of a month, trying to get him to force him out from the position. And apparently there's also even discussion of dissolving the Ferguson Police Department and handing control over of law enforcement to the St. Louis County Police.
And that's not good. You need your individual city police. So dumb. All right, so what else do we have in the news?
Else in the news? Arizona woman has up to 90 orgasms in an hour. Says Jesus. Condition is ruining her life.
I saw this video. This is crazy.
Oh, is there a video for it? I didn't even notice. Let me look. Is there anything else on the topic? Or is that it?
Kara Anaya Carlisi can have 90 orgasms in an hour. That might sound great to a lot of people, but the 30-year-old Phoenix area resident says, it's not something I wish on anybody. It makes doing the most basic things, going to work or going out shopping, extremely difficult to achieve, she says. To outsiders, it might sound wonderful, but it is unfulfilling and shameful. I'd do anything to find a cure. She suffers from a rare condition called persistent sexual arousal syndrome, PSAS.
Sounds steamy.
Or persistent genital arousal disorder, which is PGAD.
Where in Arizona is she?
It's Phoenix area.
Yeah, I'm like, where exactly in Phoenix?
It doesn't give her fucking address, Tony. Jesus Christ.
Like Glendale, Mesa.
We have her on the line. Everyone. Listen, you may not like it, but that sounds like you're enjoying it.
Yeah. Could you please tell Mr. Cosby we'd like to talk to him?
Oh God! It's racist Tony. Jesus, he's taking the crown.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of racist Tony, we actually have, I forgot all about this, we actually have a phone call from your mother? Your mother, right?
How in the hell is she dialing the phone?
So stupid. No, it's not a phone call from her. There's actually a bit. We forgot to cover this earlier, but I have it now. ISIS is going to be printing their own currency. They announced that they're going to be doing their own money. And I had Tony's mom. I was like, that'd be a good question for Tony's mom. Let's see what she thought. So here is Tony speaking with his mother about ISIS and the rumor that they may soon be printing their own dollar bills.
All right, now this is Tony Sabal with Rain Man Network. And I'm asking I think
maybe someday somebody will get the name of the network correct. I mean, Brian, Rain Man Digital Network, Rain Man Digital Network. Thomas calls it Rain Man Network. I'm like, dude, it's Rain Man Digital.
very important question to someone important in my life. So let me ask you. It's been recently noted that...
Look at Tony, regular Barbara Walters over here.
Yeah.
Regular. Listen, Mom, I really... It brings me no pleasure asking you this question.
It brings me no pleasure asking you
ISIS is going to want to print their own money, create their own currency. Well, how do you feel about Islamic extremists printing out their own money, and what do you think this is going to mean for the entire world?
Who will get their money also? If the other country will what do you call that? will honor their money, they're stupid.
So she's saying anybody that would use their money is stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I understand Filipino.
It took a while. Honestly, it took a while.
You didn't even know
it.
You didn't even know. I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, I'm like going. Okay, you're going too slow, Mom. You're going way too slow.
Asshole.
Oh, simmer down.
So you think
asshole?
So she says asshole with very venom.
I know.
I got to get that as a drop.
You gotta have David on. Just drop
I
it
need
on
to
him.
copy that so I could get a little sound bit every time I get a message. It'll be my mom saying asshole.
They're stupid.
Yeah,
that's stupid.
Asshole.
They're a stupid asshole. Was she trying to think how to say it?
She was trying to think. Honestly, no. Honestly,
how long has she been in this country? Come on.
No, honestly, Mike,
she should be knowing how to speak English.
This is the honest truth. When I told her about this,
did she get all happy?
Yeah, she was very happy to help out. But Mike, get this. She says, I need some time to make my hair and makeup, and I'm like,
Mom, this is a video.
Yeah. I'm like going, this isn't video, Mom. I'm like going, but I need to look presentable. I'm going, it's audio, Mom.
Mom, it's just you and me. Nobody else is going to see this.
Yeah, it's just audio. You don't need to dress up or put on makeup here.
That's funny.
So you think that this is just bad for the entire world to have the extremists have their own money?
Yes.
Okay. A little bonus here, since we're watching the news right here. Shanisha Taylor raised a lot of money. She was the one that went to jail because she was arrested because her kids were in a hot car while she was in for a job interview. And apparently for the last couple of weeks, people don't really know what's happened to all that money that's been raised or donated to her.
So why was there money donated to this lady? Because of what?
You don't know? You're not familiar?
No, she didn't have a job or something like that, and she's had a tough time getting a job, and she couldn't afford a sitter or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And so people donated money because they felt bad for her.
She was able to raise about almost $100,000.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Okay, Jesus Christ.
That now she's in trouble with the law because she apparently broke an agreement regarding that money. Did you know, Mom, that part of that money apparently was spent on her boyfriend's rap album?
Oh my God. Then he should be punished. He should be punished.
Dude, she needs to be president. She's all like, excuse me, Mr. President, we just had someone just bombed our people in Afghanistan.
She's so direct.
They just bombed us in Afghanistan. Mrs. Sabal, what is your solution to this problem, and what should we do to make sure we enact immediate justice?
It just goes...
Oh, that is bad.
That goes straight to the point.
They should be punished.
Yeah, there you go.
There's no diplomacy. There's nothing. It's
no
just...
diplomacy, just
you attacked
straight
us,
on.
You're fucking punished. That's it.
Where's the button?
Then he should be punished. He should be punished. Because the people here in the United States giving him money for his kids, to give food for the kids. And then that stupid lady, she just spend and spend. He deserved to be punished.
So you think that she should serve some jail time?
Oh, yes.
What about
straight on?
Oh, yes.
She got real.
She's a straight
She
shooter.
got real militant right there. She's,
Oh.
yes. She lost her accent for a minute too. She's
Yeah.
all kill them all.
No, I mean, yeah, she's just shot from the hip. There's
that she should serve some jail time.
Oh yes.
What about the people that actually donated the money to her?
They should be.
They should be killed as well.
Thinking now that they were. What? They were.
She's trying to think of a word here.
Duped.
Mm-hmm. Okay, tricked.
Oh yes.
Okay. So, would you have given money to a person like her if she asked for donations?
No.
What would you have done?
Maybe you think you go to the church
there you go.
to give money, or ask somebody who is taking care of the kids and give there, not to her.
Man, Dan had the accent way off on these people. Oh, your parents, I should say, not these people.
No, he was pretty much dead on with my dad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the dad's pretty accurate.
How does your dad sound like that, and your mom sounds almost like a Mexican lady? Like, this is how my family sounds.
It's like, hey, that's what Filipinos are. We're like island Mexicans.
So stupid.
Oh my god. No, but yeah,
because she's stupid.
All that money that was donated to her, and she spent it on other
Yes.
stuff?
If I'm the one who donate that, they should sue her and get back the money.
Oh, there you go. Atta girl.
Okay.
Atta girl.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that well-informed opinion. This is Tony Sabal.
All right, and you know what? Next time, let's keep it short. Like, we'll give her like, okay, Mom, I need you to be short and concise. Here's a sentence. Boom. And you don't worry about making it longer. Like, that was great, but just save yourself some time and energy. Just like, Mom, I need a sentence explanation of what you would do to solve this world problem. In fact, you know what? Let's make it easier for her. If Tony Sabal's mom was president.
Okay.
Okay.
You got it.
And then that way she'll be like, and just let her keep it simple. Like, I don't care if it ends up being 3 words.
Yeah.
Like, Miss Sabal, what would you do about Ferguson and its riots?
Yeah, knowing my mom, she's probably going to be like asking, well, let me put on some makeup and let me get dressed for this interview. And I goes, Mom, this is audio.
All right, let's see here. All right, do we want to move into news? Yes, let's go ahead and move into what else do we have in here? We already have the Islamic State plans to start minting money. Let's just jump right into the next one after that.
Florida thief robs pizza man, comes forward as witness, blames cousin.
Oh, hold on a second.
What the fuck is this madness? Madness? Hell, this is Florida.
All right, there you go.
That story really was hillbilly.
Yeah. We love pizza too, but come on, man. A Florida man in West Boca Raton is in jail after allegedly robbing a Pizza Hut delivery man, only to come forward later as a witness in an effort to blame his cousin. Joseph Wantz, 26, placed a $107 order for pizza, breadsticks, and soda for what he said was a party. The delivery man arrived at 10:30 p.m. last Tuesday and rightfully became suspicious because he saw no cars or signs of celebration, according to WPTV. Wantz allegedly put a BB gun to the head of the Pizza Hut worker and stole all of the food and cash he carried. The suspect and another person later told the police they witnessed the robbery and that Wantz's cousin was the gun-toting culprit. Wow. Jesus Christ. On Wednesday, Palm Beach County Sheriff deputies responded to a disturbance call at Wantz's residence. Police took Wantz in for questioning, and the pizza delivery man identified Wantz as the culprit in the previous night's robbery, according to Sun Sentinel. According to a police report, Wantz said he blamed his cousin for the robbery because the two look alike, and he wasn't the only one going down for this. He now faces charges including robbery with a firearm and aggravated assault with a firearm. Okay, honestly, dude, if you really want pizza that bad, I'm pretty certain you can get people to pitch in for a fucking pie.
Yeah, you know, I just think the guy, it's almost like, I think it's funny that he does all this and then completely blames it on someone his own cousin.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to be that dumb, at least blame it on a stranger, you'd think, at least, right?
Yeah, and then also, too, like...
I'm not going to go down for this alone. You did the crime
You're
alone.
going down alone. And then especially, too, if you rob the guy, don't let him see... Don't wear something to cover your fucking face so that
yeah.
the guy can't identify you. Like, Like his thoughts, like they're totally gonna go. Me and my cousin look almost exactly like they're totally gonna go for him.
It's gonna be really awkward at the next family get together.
Oh no! Next time we get together is fucking Thunderdome. Somebody's not leaving the family reunion alive.
Oh man! All right. So what else do we have in the news, Greg?
Guys will like this one: plastic surgeon giving women a 24-hour boob job by injecting salt into their breasts.
What?
Yep. There we go.
Salt. Is that saline? Is it saline a form of salt or no?
I believe it is.
All right.
Yeah.
So a 24-hour, read the goods on that.
A plastic surgeon is giving women a 24-hour boob job by injecting salt into their breasts. New York-based Dr. Norman Rowe discovered that introducing a saline-based solution into a patient's chest allowed her to experience what having a bigger bosom would both look and feel like. It just gives volume, said Dr. Rowe. The 24-hour time frame shows patients what they're going to look like, but also with the added weight, what the added weight would feel like. Patient Angie Diaz, 24, timed her procedure to coincide with her boyfriend's birthday so she could wear a particularly sexy dress.
Look at her. Nice little, forethought there.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
He was so confused and shocked at the difference, she said. He loved it. She added, I was beyond shocked with the results. It really looked like I had breast augmentation in just 30 minutes. But here's the kicker. The injections cost $2,500.
Jeez.
However, this can be
$2,500? I mean, for an injection, you could just, you can get a nice boob job for $5.
But here's what he's doing. However, this can be used towards the total if the patient decides to go through with the full boob job, which starts at around $10,000.
That is actually pretty damn
this
good
guy's
business.
This guy's good business, man. That is fucking good idea.
It's almost like a test drive, Hopefully, like the women get a, look at all these extra looks I'm getting with my boobs. I really like them. And then guess what? You decide to go full on. You already put down half or a quarter of the money. Yeah, that's actually pretty damn fucking smart. So is that it on the article?
That's it for that one.
And now, Tony, would you be interested in possibly doing a 24-hour boob job yourself? If I gave you $2,500, you're like, and we run a gag, would you be interested in doing that?
Wait, on me?
Yeah. It's not permanent.
I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to set a tits.
My first question is, who's going to be the female?
No, you.
Me? My only concern is I'll never leave the house then.
Well, there's the result of the experiment. Don't need to really do it because we already know what it'll
Lock
do.
me up and call me Bill Cosby on myself. All right, what else do we have in the news?
Palestinians celebrate lone wolf attack on Jerusalem synagogue.
This sort of reminds me of what happened after 9/11.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they were celebrating and all that, and then next thing you know, they get bombed.
Oh, what's the article say?
The brutal killings of 5 worshippers, including 3 Americans, in a Jerusalem synagogue Tuesday by 2 Palestinians wielding meat cleavers and a gun appears to be a lone wolf attack.
Yeah.
Israel's National Police Commissioner says the violence was met with celebration from Palestinians as revelers in the Gazan city of Rafah handed out candy and brandished axes and posters of the suspect in praise of the deadly attack, according to the Jerusalem Post. Hamas-affiliated social media also circulated violent and anti-Semitic cartoons hailing the killings. National Police Commissioner Yochana Danino told the newspaper that a preliminary investigation of the attack indicates a grassroots independent effort.
Yeah, congratulations. We just blew up some Americans in a church, in a synagogue.
When do they tech support?
Just go with it.
Okay.
Here's a piece of candy. Hey, congratulations. You just blew up an entire synagogue, and we're going to now pass out some Werther's Originals. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. And then, by the way, don't mind the bombs headed your way now.
Yeah. Hey, you just took out an old lady and you maimed her for life. Here's a candy cane. When did that become a way to celebrate?
Hamas said the attack was motivated by revenge after a Palestinian bus driver was found hanged in his vehicle earlier in the week and called for more violence. Okay, so he was hanged. Was it by an Israeli? Do we know?
I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows in that side of the world?
It's sad that it's like all of a sudden it's like we see a story like that, we just shrug our shoulders and go,
yeah.
So what else is new?
Yeah.
When's the next bombing run?
It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
You imagine if we celebrate like that in the streets after we blew up some people? I'm not saying that it isn't done. Like
we have the Gap bands. You dropped a bomb on me playing.
Oh.
The closest we ever did like that, did something like that in this country, was when they announced that Bin Laden was killed. You know, like, but we didn't like.
We just blew up some towel heads. Woo! USA! We're all playing this on the tanks.
I think they played this song during like the first Gulf War. They must have.
All right, we just maimed some children. Whee!
Yeah.
Here's the candy cane. All right, everybody, that's it for the show today. Thank you. Rain Man Show, RainManWasHere.com. We'll be back next week. Thank you.
You burn my fears, you earn my fears, you got the bomb on me. Let's get the fuck out of this motherfucking hellhole!